welcome or welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Lauren, and in today's video we will be doing some coloring and chatting on various topics. Today we are continuing to color in Small Victories by Johanna Basford, and we are going to be using Caran Luminance pencils. So I'm just going to take a sip of my tea, which is English breakfast, and it is sitting on this cute little cozy that was crocheted by a friend of mine as a housewarming gift, and then we are going to get started. Right, so in the previous two videos, we started coloring these cute little nature scenes from Small Victories, and we colored the first one using polychromos pencils, the second one using Prismacolor pencils, and today, as I said, we're going to be using Luminance pencils. So I'm just going to show you the colors that I'm going to be using, as well as their equivalent in Prismacolor, because I know that many people do not have Luminance pencils. Okay, so let's just put that aside. Okay, so these are the pencils that we're going to be using. Let me just zoom in a bit. Okay, so we're going to color the frog purple, and then the lily pads are going to be green, and then the background is going to be a muted grayish green color, because I wanted to fit in with the other pictures. Okay, so the colors that we're using for the frog are manganese violet, which is lilac in Prismacolor. Now, these colors are the closest that I could get. They are not a perfect match because the colors in the Luminance set are very, very different from the colors in every other set that I've ever seen. So, as I said, manganese violet is lilac, quinacridone purple is Parma violet, and then violet is violet. Yes, the violet in the Prismacolor and the violet in the Luminance are very close to each other. Bismuth yellow is sunburst yellow. Golden bismuth yellow is Spanish orange. And again, these are just the closest colors. They're actually not very close at all, but it's fine. It doesn't really matter. You don't need an exact match as long as it's a similar shade. Yellow ochre is yellow ochre. Burnt ochre 50 is, let me have a look at my list. Mineral orange. Alizarin crimson is black raspberry. Oh no, alizarin crimson is Tuscan red, sorry. Dark flesh is black raspberry. And we're also going to be using greens. So olive green is lime peel. Moss green is olive green. Dark sap green is dark green. The dark sap green in the Luminance is actually darker than dark green in Prismacolor. Payne's gray is cool gray 90. Indigo blue is indigo blue. Middle verdigris is jade green. Dark English green is peacock green. French gray 10% in Luminance is French gray 20% in Prismacolor, and white. So yeah, as I said, it's they're not going to match 100%, but they are close enough, and it will work. Okay, so let's now put this aside. So I just want to talk a little bit about Luminance pencils. The colors that you get in the Luminance range are unique, and I've very seldom seen any similar colors in other ranges. And because of that, you don't necessarily get the pencil that is the exact color that you want. You combine pencils together to get new colors, and that will create the color that you actually want. So let me show you an example of what I mean. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, so here I've tried out different color greens to get the green that I want for my lily pads. So as you can see, I tried spring green, and I tried dark English green, and I didn't get the colors that I wanted. But when I tried, this is olive green, moss green, and then the dark sap green. And when I merged the olive green and the moss green, I got more of the olive green that you get in Prismacolor. And when I merged the moss green and the dark sap green, I got more of the dark green that you get in Prismacolor. So by layering the pencils and mixing them together, you get other colors. You can do this, as I said, with Prismacolor, but Prismacolor also gives you those colors, so you don't have to struggle as much. Another example would be these colors to create like a reddish-orange color. So you've got the bismuth yellow, the golden bismuth yellow, then you've got the alizarin crimson, and together it creates a terracotta color. So that is what we will be doing. We will be layering the pencils to get new shades. Okay, so I hope that I explained that in a way that makes sense. So if you've been watching this video for a couple of Saturdays, then you know that Saturday is laundry day. So if you hear a grinding noise in the background, it is our ancient washing machine chugging away.
Should not blame it on the laundry fairy.
It's not the laundry fairy's fault. We just need a new washing machine, which is hopefully a purchase that will be coming soon. We have to wait for payday. Anyway, as I was saying, we're going to be coloring this adorable little frog. I have a page underneath to protect the side of the page, and I have a page to rest my hand on, and we are going to get started. As you can see, like with the previous images, I have put a circle around the frog because I don't want the background to spread over any further than the circle. Okay, right, so we're going to start with the lily pads. And that barking is Toby, who is expressing his disapproval as usual. He really doesn't like it when I record anything. He did the same when I was on Zoom during COVID. He insisted on participating in all of the classes. Okay, so we're going to start with, it is olive green, okay? And if you're using Prismacolor, then it is lime peel, and if you're using polychromos, it would be May green. Right, so very lightly, we're just going to put this color over this lily pad. Okay, just making sure that everything is covering the page. Okay. Right, so very lightly, we're just putting this color. Now, Luminance pencils are not for everybody. There's a definite learning curve with them. Sometimes they can be scratchy. Sometimes they can be too creamy even. I found that every pencil is slightly different. And I've actually heard from other people that their colors that I have that I think are scratchy, they don't think are scratchy, but other colors that I have that are not scratchy are scratchy for them. So it's it also has to do with the paper, I think. But they're fabulous pencils. There's just a learning curve with them. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to move on to moss green, which is 225. And if you are using Prismacolor, then this would be, what did I say? I wrote it down and I can never remember. 1 second. It's olive green, okay? And if you're using polychromos, it's permanent green olive. I think that's what it's called. Okay, so we are going to have our light coming from the top right. Okay, so we're going to start shading on this side. Okay, and so our highlight is going to be over here. Interesting. I'm testing out all of these pencils on this paper to see what works, what doesn't work, and I don't know. I'm not sure if I like the Luminance. The Prismacolors and the polys worked beautifully. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the Luminance on this paper. Luminance pencils need toothier paper. So Yeah, because they're really artist pencils. Okay. So as you can see, by layering the pencils, we're getting new colors. Okay. And also, because these images are so tiny, you need a really, really sharp pencil. So whereas Prismacolor pencils wear down quickly, and Polychromos pencils do not wear down quickly at all, the Luminance is somewhere in between. They wear down more quickly than Polychromos, but not as quickly as Prismacolors. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, now we are moving on to the dark sap green, which is dark green in Prismacolor and chrome oxide green in Polychromos. Okay, so we're just putting this in these areas to darken up shadows. Okay. Right, so I hope that you are all having a nice weekend and that you had a good week. My week was relatively uneventful. I was marking papers and exams, and I'm going to be doing the same next week. So next week will also be uneventful. Okay, wow, I like that. We're going to just blend this a little bit. We're going back to the spring green, which is 015, and we're just going to blend this out a bit. Oh, and then you see you get this nice mid-tone green with this blending. Oh, I like that. Yeah, so the papers that I am marking right now are in a course in Myths and Legends. I teach, I'm a college lecturer, if you're new here and you don't know, and I teach literature and academic writing. And the papers that I was marking this week were in the Myths and Legends course that I teach. So basically, I teach this course because so much English literature has mythological foundations. Like there are lots of references to myths and legends from different cultures that have influenced English literature. So I teach this course to show this to my students, okay? And it's a fun course. They enjoy it, and they have a lot of background knowledge, which is good. And so a lot of times they really contribute a lot to the discussion in class from what they know already. And then they learn new things, and they enjoy that. And yeah, so it's a fun course. We also talk about how myths and legends have influenced the English language, because these students are going to be English teachers. So we also talk about how the myths and legends have influenced the development of the language. Right. Oh, I really like that. Okay, let's move on to these two. So as you can see, these two are the same as this one. And so we are going to do the same for these two, but this one and this one are different, and so we will do something different with those. Okay, so let's turn the page. I just want to make sure. So our light source is coming from, is coming from here. So if I turn the page, yes, then the light source is here. So this will be in the shadows, and this will be the highlight. Okay. Right, so let me make sure I'm on camera. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so as I was saying, yeah, I was marking their papers. Yeah, they did a pretty good job. I was quite happy with them, some more than others. Their assignment was to choose a topic. It didn't have to be some, in fact, I preferred it if they didn't choose something we actually studied. And they had to write an expository paper, so an informative paper. They had to go and do some research. And we're moving on to moss green. Do some research on their topic. I said they had to have at least 3 sources, and they couldn't use the Wikipedia. They had to use at least 3 sources and that were academic, and incorporate them into the paper, and then give their own opinion. So, for example, they had to include all this knowledge, and then nope, that's good. Talk about how they feel this story, this myth or this legend has contributed to modern society, or why has it persisted into popular culture or something like that. So I started reading their papers, and one student chose to do her paper on the myth of Pandora. So first they have to provide all this information from sources. So she was first explaining what the tale is about Prometheus, and how he insulted Zeus, and how Zeus punished him. And part of the punishment was to create woman, which is Pandora, which means all gifts. And the reason her name is All Gifts is because all the different gods gave her traits, beauty and grace and intelligence. And also they gave her a box. And she was told not to open the box. But in many myths, one of the overriding attributes of women is their curiosity. And so, of course, the curiosity was just eating away at Pandora. And so after she arrived as the gift, yes, to Prometheus, but it was his brother Epimetheus who actually married her. She was consumed by curiosity. And so she opened the box, and all the evils in the world, jealousy and rage and envy and greed and sloth and all those horrible things, yes, came out of the box. And she managed to close the box before Hope escaped. So Hope was still in the box. Okay, let's move on to this one. And as I said, the light source is still coming from here. So this part is going to be light and this part is going to be shadow. Anyway, so she told the tale, and then she talked about how in other cultures there are similar stories. So for example, in the Bible, we have the story of Eve, who is also blamed for letting evil into the world by eating the apple of the tree of knowledge. And then she explained that, this is a very common story in patriarchal societies. But it's unfair. That's what she was saying. It's unfair to blame women, but that's a very common story in literature as well. Women are to blame because these are stories written by men. So she was very, her disappointment in some of the stories came out in her paper. So that was a cute paper, and she did a pretty good job. We are moving on to dark sap green, okay, and just in the shadows. Yeah, so another student did her paper on Medusa. I was starting to sense a theme with these students. They were picking stories. There's one boy in my class, so they're all girls except for this poor guy. He's really sweet. He's a sweet guy, and he gets along well with everyone. I haven't read his paper yet, so I'm not sure what he wrote about. Oh, are you telling me that you want something? Yes. Okay, that's Toby yawning. He's already been for his walk. Don't let him tell you any different. So he's the only boy in the class. I haven't read his paper yet. Anyway, so this other student did her paper on Medusa. And so she started off talking about how it's a cautionary tale. So in the story of Medusa, if you're not familiar with it, I mean, most people know that she is the Gorgon with snakes for hair, who, if anybody looked at her, she turned them to stone. But the story is that she didn't always have snakes for hair, and she was very beautiful. And men were very attracted to her, including the god Poseidon. And it depends which version of the story you're reading. So some versions say that he seduced her. Yes. Okay, we have to take a pause so I can find out what's wrong with someone. Hold on. Okay, he's changed positions. That might make him happy. Okay, so I'm using the white, and I'm just lightening up my highlight on all of these lily pads. Where was I? Oh, yes, Medusa. So, so according to one version of the tale, yes, Poseidon seduced Medusa in Athena's temple. In other versions of the tale, he assaulted her. She wasn't at all willing. But regardless of whether or not she was willing, it infuriated Athena. She was, you've besmirched my temple, and she was furious. So she decided, of course, to punish Medusa, not Poseidon, but Medusa. So again, we have the patriarchy. Yes, the woman is punished and the man gets off scot-free. Also, Poseidon was a god, so I'm not so sure that Athena had the authority to punish him. And I'm not sure Zeus, the king of the gods, he wouldn't consider this a crime. So anyway, Athena punishes Medusa by deciding to destroy her beauty, and she does this by turning her hair into snakes, and by making it so that when she gazes on someone, they turn to stone. Okay, so there we go. We have our lily pads. Let's move on to these other lily pads, and I'm going to make these ones slightly different. So I have those other greens that I chose, and I think what I'm going to do is use those. So I'm going to be using the middle verdigris, which is 713, and the dark English green, and I'm thinking I will also use is this Payne? That's Payne's gray. I want the indigo. Yes, oops, sorry. Let's go to the dark indigo. Yes, dark indigo. Okay, 639. So let's actually test these colors out before I mess up. Yes, I always recommend that you check colors on a piece of paper before you put them down on your page. So we're going to be using middle verdigris. Let's see if these colors work nicely together. Okay. Okay, those two work nicely. They're a bit bluish. This has a cool tone to it. These are cool. I still want to have some of the warmer tone so it merges with the others. So I'm not so sure about this. Yeah, this is a nice combination for the background. let's keep, yeah, I think this, if we look, yeah, let's go back to our picture. If we look at the picture, we see that we've got warm tones. And if I put these blue tones, it's not going to mesh well. So I think I will try a different combination. Let's keep this middle verdigris, but instead of the dark English green, let's put moss green. Ooh, yes. So basically our base color is going to be different, and the other two will be the same. And then we'll get a different looking lily pad. Oh, I like that. And of course we're gonna keep our dark sap green. Yes. Okay, so we're changing our base color. Instead of the spring green, we're going to use the middle verdigris. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do this one. And again, our light is coming from the top right. Okay, let me just give this a sharpen. The sharpener that I use is the Tagal. I like to use the sharpener because it has different settings and you can get your point long or short. I like to use the short setting because then the pencils don't break. So Prismacolor in particular is prone to breaking. Okay, so here is our light source from, as I said, the top right, but we've also got this lily pad overlapping this one, and the frog's leg is also overlapping, so we're going to have shadows there. Okay, all right. Yeah, so the student, again, she recounted the details of the myth, and then she spoke about how in Greek society, in ancient Greek society, this was a cautionary tale for women to behave properly, to not be promiscuous, to not tempt men, to not behave in a way they shouldn't. Again, women being blamed. And again, the students, then the student discussed an article that she read about how the image of Medusa has changed over time, and she's gone from being a cautionary tale to being a feminist icon. And so, for example, Medusa is the image that is used by the House of Versace as their logo. Yes, she's the logo on the House of Versace, which is a fashion company. Okay, so now we're moving on to Moss Green 225. And she thought this was really interesting, that Medusa is now associated with an industry that, at least hopefully, empowers women. But she also said how the fashion industry is controversial about, the treatment of models and things like that. But efforts are being made to be more protective of models and to use more diverse models. But she liked the fact that it's used as a feminist icon for the fashion industry rather than as something that is negative. Yeah, so that was her paper. That was a really interesting one. I'm trying to think. And then the last paper I've read, I've only read 3. It takes me time to read them and mark. That's why I'm always marking. Yeah, that's our highlight. Be careful there. I do want to take the middle verdigris again and just blend some of this out. Yeah, so the third paper that I read, I've actually only read half of it because I had to stop. I was tired. So the third paper I read is also by a female student, but she decided to do her paper on the Grim Reaper. Oh, what's wrong? Are you miserable? Okay, so we're at dark sap green. Someone is very verbal today. Hold on. Right, so we're now with the dark sap green and we're just deepening up our shadows. So we're going round this leaf pad that's overlapping and just going out a bit. Not too much. Yeah, so this student did her paper on the Grim Reaper. So one of the topics that we discuss in the course is death archetypes, because death is a significant theme in literature. And so you have a lot of death archetypes in literature, and so we discuss them in the course. So we get the ones that are from different cultures. So for example, we talk about death archetypes in Greek mythology. For example, Caran, the ferryman who ferries the dead across the river Styx. If you've ever read, this is not a classic work of literature, but there's a series called Dark Hunters by, the author's name is Shannon something. I have to think of it. So she writes a series of, they're basically vampires, but most of her characters are based on characters from Greek and Roman mythology. So for example, there's a character named Styx, and there's a character named Acheron for the river Acheron in the underworld. And so we're going to blend this out with the moss green. Yeah, so anyway, so we study these death archetypes. And another one that we study is Anubis from Egyptian mythology. And the Valkyries from Norse mythology. And we mainly focus on those elements that influenced Western culture, because Western literature, that's what they're studying. They're going to be English teachers, so that's what they're going to be teaching, and so that's what we focus on. So we don't get as much Eastern philosophy in the course, which is unfortunate, but there's a limit to how much time I have and how many topics I can cover. I'd love to be able to do others, but I have to actually, focus on their curriculum. Anyway, so yes, she decided to do her paper on the Grim Reaper, and she's talking about, first she talked about its origins. So she talked about how the origin is from the medieval times, primarily after the Black Death, and it was a personification of death in the Middle Ages. All right, and she also talked about its similarities to, as I was saying, Caran from Greek mythology, because Caran in Greek mythology, he's described as a very thin being, wearing a robe and carrying a staff so that he ferries people across the river. And she talked about how the iconography of the Grim Reaper is similar, except he also wears a cloak. But instead of carrying a staff, he carries a scythe because he reaps souls. And that's as far as I got. I have to read the rest of her paper. She's going to talk about how it appears in popular culture. Okay. Yeah, so they're doing a good job. I'm quite pleased with them. Okay. Oh, that has gotten a slightly different tint to it than the first ones. So that I'm very pleased with that. That's turned out nicely. Yeah. As you can see, lots of layering. Because if you've been watching my channel, you know I like to layer my pencils. Right. I don't think we need to put white here because this middle verdigris has done the job really well. Okay. Now we've got this lily pad on the bottom. Again, our highlight is coming from the top right. Now here the frog is overlapping. So this is where our shadow area, and then the sun is going to hit this area. So this is where our highlight is going to be. Okay, so again, I'm going to, I think I'm going to keep this combination. So we're going to start with the middle verdigris, and we're just going to put it there. Let me just make sure that my page underneath is not going to create a mess there. Okay, so there we go. We're light. Yeah, this is where our highlight is, so let's leave it white. As I've explained in other videos, it's the best thing to do for your highlight is to leave a section white. You can always come back and add pencil into the highlight a little later, but if you leave it white, then you're going to not have to worry about losing it. Okay, right, now we're moving on to moss green. Yeah, so that's what I was doing for most of last week. I've also been going to the swimming pool, which is nice because I need to do exercise for my shoulder because I tore my rotator cuff. And I really think the swimming is helping. I'm slowly moving up to doing more laps. What else did I do this week? So I've been reading a couple of books, and I finished the book that I was reading last week, but I finished it yesterday. I haven't been doing as much reading because I've been doing marking and coloring, so my reading is on the back burner. But I do try to read a little bit every evening. So I finished the book that I was reading, and I really enjoyed it. It was a good, it's called The Girls in the Snow by Stacey Green. And I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the plot. Her writing, I think it's a debut novel, so I'm giving her a pass on some of the inconsistencies that characterize the writing. I'm blending out with the middle verdigris. So I'm giving her a bit of a pass on some of the inconsistencies that she had because I really liked the plot. It was very clever. And the twist there's foundation in the twist, not as much as there could have been. But yeah, it was a good twist. So I finished that one. The audiobook that I'm reading, The Boy Who Cried Bear, I have not made much progress in because I usually listen to audiobooks while I'm coloring, but I've actually been watching Dateline instead. And so I have to stop doing that. Yeah, some of the previous episodes of Dateline are available on streaming services, and so I've been watching that. I'm always amazed at what people do to each other. It's really sad. And how many wives kill their husbands, and how many husbands kill their wives, and it's sad. Yes, I've been watching that and not listening to my audiobook. So, but I think this week I am going to make a concerted effort to finish that book because it has to go back to the library. Okay, yeah, so I'm putting more of this moss green into this one over there to make it look slightly different. And okay, all right, do I like that? Okay, I think I have too much green here and here. So I think what I'm going to do is erase a bit. Now, this is where the test will come in terms of layering. So if you layer pencils, then it should be easier to erase the top layer and make corrections. So we're gonna see if that works. Let me get an eraser. Okay. So this is the eraser that I use. It's a Factus BM2 and it's got a small nib, and I just clean it off. Let's just clean it off a little bit on the side. Okay. I want to, you see, when you do layering, you can erase the top layer and the bottom layers are still there. So you can make corrections. Ooh, that's nice. That's erased very nicely. Okay, all right. So I'm going to go back in with the moss green. Ah, yes, much better. Yeah, so that's one of the benefits of layering, is you can erase and make corrections more easily than if you just put down hard pressure all at once. Okay, oh yeah, much better. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Let's just put some of this in. Okay, and blend it out. Okay. All right, yeah. I'm thinking of taking, yes, let's take the dark indigo and just deepen up the shadow a bit more. Here as well, just deepening up our shadows a bit more. Now the little frog. Okay, and yeah, it's I see some dust. Let's brush. Okay, so yeah, let's zoom out and have a look at the overall effect. Oh yes, I really like that. He's looking very good. Okay, so I think that's it for today. In the next Saturday snippet, we are going to color the frog, and maybe we'll even get to the other elements and the background. We'll see. I'm trying to do each one of these Saturday snippets for each one of these scenes in 2 videos so that we don't take too long for each scene. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me with this adorable little frog, and I hope you join me next week for the next installment. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are enjoying the channel, it would be fabulous if you subscribed, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.